Good morning. Today, I, Nancy Raj, am directly reporting live from News TV where we are going to talk about two major protests against mining. Mining is one of the most important economic activities that contribute to the advancement of economies around the world. Therefore, the majority of countries that wish to strengthen their economies turn to mining to exploit their natural resources. As a result, most countries have implemented restrictions to reduce the impact. Nevertheless, because mining plays such a large role in providing the revenue for typically rural, distant, or economically impoverished regions, governments sometimes fail to adequately enforce the regulations. The first protest we are going to talk about is Odisha tribal protest against Hindalco bauxite mining. Opposition to mining activity in Mali Parbat stretches back to 2003 when the Odisha State Pollution Control Board held a public hearing seeking environmental clearance for the Hindalco company. The overwhelming majority of those affected in attendance at the hearing opposed the mining, but according to the villagers, their concerns were ignored in the final report to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. After that, Hindalco was awarded a lease. Mali Hill has total bauxite deposit of 14 million tons, according to the estimates. The organization was granted permission to mine zero point 0.6 million tons of bauxite per year from the hill. However, under the banner of Mali Parbat Suraksha Samiti, people continued to oppose mining, making it difficult to mine the hill. In April 2021, government approved a public hearing for environmental clearance to renew the lease. After the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change approved the public hearing for environmental clearance of the company, the State Pollution Control Board held a public hearing on September 22, which was disrupted by demonstrations by tribal. The date was then changed to November 22, contrary to public opposition. The Koraput District Administration in Odisha held a public hearing on environmental issues related to Hindalco Industries Limited mining lease. On November 22, 2020, the hearing took place in the midst of heavy police presence and after over 30 protesters and community were taken into preventative custody. The event took place 2 months after protesters forced the cancellation of public hearing on the subject. Another fault line that has opened in the mining wars is the Serbian anti mining protest. In Serbia, resistance is gathering steam against various deals made between Belgrade and companies that risk environmental degradation. Several thousands of people protested in Serbia on January 2022 as a major step of their ongoing struggle since November 2021, demanding a ban on planned lithium mining in the Balkan country as well as a resolution to scores of the environmental issues that made the region one of the most polluted in the Europe. The rally in downtown Belgrade was organized by about 30 ecological groups who recently gained popularity in Serbia amid widespread disillusionment with mainstream politicians and amid major pollution problems faced by the region. Protesters demand that the government of Serbia annuls all obligations to Rio Tinto. It is widely believed that Serbia, which formally seeks European Union membership but instead has been forging close ties with Russia and China, may want to hand over the lithium mining to China by sidelining Rio Tinto from the project in which it has pledged to invest 2.4 billion. The mine was slated to produce enough lithium to power 1 million electric vehicles, in addition to boric acid used in ceramics and batteries, and sodium sulfate used in detergents. At full capacity, the mine was expected to produce 58,000 tons of refined battery grade lithium carbonate per year, making it Europe's biggest lithium mine by the output. Throughout its almost 150-year history, Rio Tinto has faced accusations of corruption, environmental degradation, and human rights abuses at its mining sites. Due to petition, which collected 283,364 signatures, Serbia revoked Rio Tinto's lithium exploration licenses on January 20, 2022, bowing its protesters who opposed the development of the project by the Anglo-Australian mining giant on the environmental grounds. Now, I would like to invite Chelsea Kant for further discussion.
Good morning. Chelsea Khan reporting live from News TV. Let's discuss the differences and similarities between these two cases. The first similarity seen is reasons for the protest. Mining activity in Odisha's Koraput district would drastically affect 40 plus villages that fall under Pakhajola, Sorisha Podar, and Dalaguda panchayats. It shall contaminate or deplete or even dry out water sources flourishing from 30 plus perennial streams and 4 canals on which farmers are dependent greatly, which will indirectly affect their livelihoods. It is also a threat to the existence of tribal members of Konda, Parraja, and Gadabba in those regions too. Rio Tinto, who wanted to develop lithium mine and processing plant in the Jadar Valley in Serbia, was called for a halt by thousands of people to save environment. 30 popular organizations of environment took part in the protest to stop the region from suffering severe pollution issues. Major concerns for the protest were that there is threat to the contamination of Serbia's rivers. It will also have a huge impact on nature, as well as cause air pollution. In the situation where Serbia is already dealing with the major pollution issues, Serbians couldn't let one more reason add to its list. They alleged how sulfuric acid in lithium would not be separated from jadarite. Water and air pollution will lead to threat to multi-generational farmlands and farmers, causing threats to their livelihood. Land in this process is bound to get damaged too. Second similarity seen is politics. Over the last 20 years, state government, largely Adivasi-dominated mineral-rich regions, have used this tactic to prevent the public from attending public hearings, resulting in anger, conflict, and in some cases death. The Mali Parbat hearing was supposed to take place on September 22nd, which was interrupted by people. On November 22, the Odisha government announced a new hearing. Locals in Mali Parbat, primarily Adivasi and Dalit tribes, have fought to prevent Hindalco from resuming mining in biodiverse and ecologically vulnerable Mali Parbat region. Hindalco was unable to operate the mine at full capacity of 600,000 tons per day due to strong local resistance. The police are themselves the complainant in the FIR, which alleges that protesters inflicted a severe cut to the head on a Hindalco official and chased him in order to kill him, as well as attacking government officials. After Serbia's government rescinded a crucial decree approving Rio Tinto's contentious lithium mining project, environmentalists said they did not trust government pledges that the project would be abandoned permanently, fearing what would happen after April elections. Serbia's Association of Environmental Organizations said the fight will go on, pointing out the Prime Minister Anna had not clarified several topics. Differences. Odisha's protest case, government seems to be less in favor of villagers and more towards the project, as frequent raids with the help of police and administrations tend to threaten the locals. Most of the heads of the protests are put behind the bars during the protest. Whereas in Serbia, the police and the government seems to be in favor of the protesters. The duration of both the cases differs too. Tribals in Odisha have been protesting since over more than 18 years but still have failed to put an end to it. This shows how role of identity, education and finance is important and effectful. Tribals of Odisha have been suppressed and taken advantage because of their illiteracy and financial background as coming from the village, and hence are considered weak or easy targets, whereas Serbian protesters, being educated, habituating in cities, were seen as strong protesters. While comparing both the protests, it was observed how major agenda and aim behind the protesters were welfare of the environment and their state and members. The concern of the protests were found to be same, that is depletion and contamination of water bodies, huge land damage, and shall affect large amount of population residing in those regions, and various other types of pollution. Both the protests involved police involvement and sought court intervention. Both the mining projects were granted lease for the purpose of economic development of the state. The current status of the cases is that Odisha bauxite case is still ongoing and villagers are still fighting for preserving their vicinity, whereas Serbian lithium case is put to an end by cancelling all the licenses of the company for carrying out mining activity. Thank you.